But I'd like to call John Kapelos, who played Carl, the janitor. I'd also like to call Marilyn, Vance, who is the costume designer for the movie.
Hey, Marilyn.
You guys sit next to each other.
Hi.
So, it's been a while, probably since you guys have seen each other. A few years?
Well, actually, Marilyn and I worked together recently, so we've been in touch. Does this work?
I don't know,
Song?
but I think we all have voices that can carry.
Some of us do.
John recently had a short in Sundance that he produced, and...
Yeah. Does this work?
Yeah, give her that. I'll take this.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a short that was at Sundance and that Marilyn did the costumes for. We did that about 3 years ago. And the short was just in Sundance this January.
So tell us,
Yeah, whatever.
how were you guys first introduced to John Hughes? Because I know both of you, this was not the first movie that you did with him. So how were you,
This was
or was
actually
it?
my first.
It was.
Use the microphone.
I don't think it's working.
Yeah.
No, it's working.
They're on.
Yours is working too.
What was the first?
I had met John in, for first film I did with him was 16 Candles. 1912. I'm still doing silent pictures. No, John and I met through the casting person Jackie Birch, and Jackie's still casting in the business. She lives in North Carolina now. And Jackie, they read me for 16 Candles when I was in Chicago, and I was at Second City. And we did the film, and then afterwards, John said, I have this other picture called, this other script that I'm doing called The Breakfast Club. And I went to New York with Second City and worked off Broadway, and I was doing a show at the Village Gate when I read in the trade papers that they were already shooting The Breakfast Club. This was in February of 1984, I think they started shooting. When did you start shooting The Breakfast Club?
I think you're right.
February '84, and I was kind of bummed that they'd already started shooting. And I read in the trade papers that Rick Moranis had the part that, I guess, were you there for that? Okay, and then the next day, literally the next day, I got a call from my agent in Chicago saying that John and Rick had a parting of the ways. And they flew me to Chicago and put me up in my own apartment. No, it was fun anyway, but they paid an extraordinary amount of money to get me back there, and then I shot for whatever, a week and a half. And I think John was relieved to get rid of Rick, and
Oh dear.
Rick had decided to do the part. No flies on him. He's a great actor, but he wanted to do the part like in the Second City TV character, like with Russian. Am I wrong in this?
With an accent.
With an accent, and he did it. This is what I was told. He did it as a Russian, and he had all these gold teeth, and he had a big wad of keys between his legs that he played with provocatively. And John said, like, have you read the script that this guy went to this high school? I don't know whether you caught at the beginning. There's that shot of me as a most likely to succeed, like in the trophy case at the beginning. So the notion is that this guy, this janitor, had gone to this high school and was now the keeper of the sort of the memories or whatever. And so Rick said, yeah, but I want to do it this way. And then they had a parting of the ways.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that? You were around for that.
Well, it's exactly what you said happened. I mean, Rick is great. He's a great guy, but he really deal with what John wanted.
Yeah. He just really wanted to play the part like a Second City character, and having been at Second City, I thought, well, but he like more like an SCTV character, if you're hip to SCTV.
Yeah.
Sort of more like a caricature in a way.
What about
Right, a
working
caricature.
with John? Just like an experience. I mean, and Molly Ringwald, like these are icons. Like,
Well, Marilyn, how was
Well,
it?
Getting involved in the Breakfast Club.
Microphone. Marilyn.
Use the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Everyone wants to hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. John Hughes was a extraordinary storyteller. It was on the page. You get the script, like it was from script to screen. You just get those characters, and like Rick missed the boat, seriously, it's a shame. And in the beginning, they did have more of that showcase, showing showing John that he actually is still in that same place that he was. He never really left there.
We shot a lot of footage that wasn't used in the film. I haven't really seen, do you have the original shooting script from Breakfast Club?
Oh, yes, I do,
You do?
somewhere.
Well, I would like to see it, because there were a lot of sequences, there was a lot of stuff that was shot that was never used in the picture. I told them, that whole scene where I come in and tell them where the clock is 20 minutes fast, it's, to me, Dee Dee Allen, who passed away last year, is a great film editor. And she cut the movie Bonnie and Clyde. So when we shot Breakfast Club in '84, I think we were ADRing it in the fall of '84, which means that we were looping it and doing post-production on it. And I was here in Los Angeles, and we ADR'd it over at the Hitchcock looping stage at Universal. And Dee Dee Allen, who was, I don't know whether anybody's hip to her, but she's a really extraordinary film editor, and also sort of a generation where she sort of broke the female ceiling in that regard, because there weren't too many women film editors in her position. And again, she cut Bonnie and Clyde. I think she cut, oh, help me out if anybody knows. She cut some really big movies. I think she cut a couple of Sidney Lumet film, but she cut some pictures. So she put her arm around me, which was uncharacteristic for her. And she said, you know, when I was approaching the looping stage to do the looping, she said, when I cut Gene Hackman out of Bonnie and Clyde, and I said, what do you mean? When you cut Gene Hackman out of Bonnie and Clyde? And then she said, that whole segment where you tell them where they're going to be 20 years from now, out, and out, out. And there was all this stuff that we shot. So when I come in and they say, is that your dad, Carl? And I say, the guys think I'm some untouchable peasant peon and all that stuff. Then I sort of went, boom. You know, I pointed down to Molly. I said, yeah, you're going to really be beautiful in 20 years with your age lines and your Ford Explorer and your 5 kids hanging from you like you're a guinea pig. And then I went up to Anthony Michael Hall. I said, you're going to be a lot of money, big money. You're going to be turned into a big jag-off, have a big heart attack at 40, and you know, have a big funeral. And then it sort of went around the horn and told them where they're all going to be. It was fun because I improvised it with Hughes. Remember that? Did we do that? We shot.
I don't even remember that.
I don't think any of this footage will be seen on.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that. I mean, it was so, the final shooting script was so chopped. It was so, you know, bare bones. These characters, they really behaved in their character. They acted out in such a way that it came right off the page in the script. And in the beginning, when I work on a film, I do storyboards because you need to connect with your actors, your director, also your cinematographer, otherwise known as the director of photography, and production designer. That set was completely built by a wonderful, wonderful production designer from scratch. It was an abandoned high school. They stopped. They couldn't afford to keep going with the school, so they were closing it down. His name was Johnny Corso, may he rest in peace, and he had.
When did he pass away?
He passed away a couple of years ago. He built the Sissy Spacek, the city. What was that film with Tommy Lee Jones? He built an entire city.
Yeah, he built this he built this the set that you see. That's the library is built. You walk into a gymnasium and they're about 5 feet, and then the set line, and it was built within a high school gymnasium.
Incredible. He did everything, the books, the lighting. As you could see, with the Breakfast Club, lighting was a real issue in the beginning, because what happened was John Hughes wanted it to be the same way they looked outside, like real. Everybody was real. The lighting wasn't soft. It wasn't made to make anyone look fantastic.
It was very bright, wasn't it?
A lot of films, very bright. It was the outdoor lighting, and that was the plan. And you had to watch that when you dressed them, and their makeup, everything was very natural. And that's why a lot of people, I think, connect more with the characters even more because of the light. You're there, you know, it's real, it's very real. It's
Yeah, it
not
doesn't have the
enhanced.
patina of a cinema sort
No,
of thing.
it's not cinematic in that sense. It's like you're part of the experience. And, you know, dressing these characters was...
Which is a great job, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She did, I mean, really. But, you know, but Vernon's suit is great. And Bender's stuff is just really, really speaks.
Well, Bender's plaid shirt was a pain in the behind because nobody's going to notice this, but if it didn't match by the shoulders and the sleeves, you would have noticed. So the plaid, you had to have it all work, and they had to be down the middle and the back of it when you saw the back of him.
So basically, it's all handmade.
Well, we reconstructed it, and we made sure the collar didn't stick out. We patted it down, made sure that he didn't have, you know, wiry collar. But the only time it didn't match was on the sides. And that was an ordeal, you know, little things like that that you bring to screen that you don't notice, that are part of the process. The process is amazing to bring all these characters to life. And also, you don't always shoot in sequence in a film. It's not always the way the story goes. The Breakfast Club, he tried to do that, but
Yeah, but that didn't work.
it
after a
didn't
while.
work. No, it didn't. So you also have to be prepared for, with a few outfits, the same thing, that you might have to regenerate, and it might look a little messier because they're shooting in the middle. So you have to make sure that they look fresher when they first get there, and then things get worn in, and as their characters break down, so do their looks. You know, it's interesting, and that's what John makes sure that you connect with. And it was amazing doing these storyboards. As I was saying, I do visual character boards to get my point across how I see the characters. And sometimes they'll go, oh, we don't like that, or we love that, or that. I don't know if that's working for me with this character. Sometimes I'll cut out of a magazine a look in the eye or something, just to grab that character. Ali Sheedy's clothing was all made for her, with the exception of the V-neck that supposedly she took from her father, the black. Black was not happening at the time, and the Japanese designers were first coming in with black. Yoji Yamamoto and Matsuda and, you know, not them, but Ray Kawasaki, or whatever her name is, yes. Kawasaki.
Bless you.
Yes, exactly. But we had to make her purse, the black fabric purse, and she had the black tights on and those. It was great that we got the sneakers and we had to age everything. You know, if you'll notice when, not that you would notice, but when you look down at their shoes, they were all brand new to start with, and we had to take them down to be realistically lived in, you know, loved in, whatever. But that really helps, and these are things that an audience never realizes how much work goes into producing that character.
But it also makes the movie play a lot better, doesn't it?
I think so.
We actually are getting ready to wrap it up, unfortunately, but I'd love to take a question or two from the audience. So, right there.
Yes. Why do both of you think that John Hughes left Hollywood?
I know exactly why John Hughes left Hollywood.
Well, tell him.
Yeah. He only, there was a producer whose name is Joel Silver. He was a huge producer. And he introduced me to John in the beginning. And he talked John into moving here for a little bit. And John was fine as long as he didn't live here. But, he lived modestly in Chicago. He had the same friends he grew up with, his wife, is very family-oriented, an incredible guy. All of a sudden, he was getting pulled to live here. So they got a house, his family in Brentwood, and he just couldn't stand the lifestyle. You know, it just wasn't for him. He was the kind of guy that could be alone forever and just things happen in his head, you know, and his family was enough for him. So they left Dodge, you know, as quickly as they got here. He couldn't handle it. He loved being apart from it. And then he got to a point where he never wanted to even be here.
And I think that he really did not he had a personality issue with certain,
Yeah, he didn't
Studio
jive with,
people.
yeah, totally. He was definitely his own person.
I understand that they were shooting a film, the last film that he was doing here, of the rap party story.
Yeah,
Right. They were supposed to do a rap party at 2 in the morning, and John wanted to go over 15 or 20 minutes, a half hour. Producers pulled the plug on the movie at 1 in the morning, and everything was canceled. I heard the story from Edie McClure,
yeah.
so it's documented.
Yeah.
And that John literally drove to the airport and either
Left.
just left
Yeah.
in a huff and never came back. And I think it was Paramount that was doing the movie at the time, or was it Fox? It doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know, but Howie Deutsch started doing his films here, you know.
Yeah,
where-
well, anyway, so John sort of, he left.
It was, he just didn't fit into the climate, you know. He didn't really want to be friends with these people. And,
I think he bristled at authority too.
oh, yeah. But he got turned on to great art and a lot of interesting aspects of it, of the town. He enjoyed, but not enough to live here. Not enough to bring his family and be happy. And, you know, he was raising his sons. And
But neither one of us are at the tip of the ladder where we really know how that happened. I would really like to find out why myself.
Well, thank you guys so
Oh,
much
gosh.
for coming out. It was so great.